Our Elegant Oxford Shoe Shine Masterclass workshop continues through 2025 with even more locations now open to sign up for. From Allen Edmonds in Birmingham, Alabama on March 22nd, to Orinda Shoe Repair in Northern California on April 5th, all the way east to Washington, D.C., and then to Chicago, with even more locations planned in the near future. Our Shoe Shine Masterclass is a 1.5-hour workshop hosted by yours truly or Levi Elliott, or both, where we will demonstrate the intricacies of shoe care and teach you how to mirror shine your shoes. And the best part is you get to keep all the Sphere products we bring for you to use. Please visit theelegantoxford.com under the Masterclass tab to see and sign up for a class near you. See you there. I'm really excited for today's review. We're looking at Bridlen, which was one of the very first brands I ever looked at in the review series. And at the time, I thought they were pretty decent. They were probably around mere mid-level, but cleaner. But recently in October, I got to go to New York for the Super Trunk Show, and I met the owners of Bridlen, and they introduced me to the Founders line, which I am really impressed by. I think this is bar none the best shoe you can buy for around $375. So let's look at these improvements. I'm always happy when a brand innovates and hones their craft, which is a principle I think Bridlen has really personified perfectly. So let's look at the original line, which I actually kept, and then we can look at the Founders line, and I think you're going to quite easily see that these are incredible shoes. So let's get the review started. Okay, so I decided to do a live narration here instead of the usual voiceover. I think that's probably more appropriate since we're doing a revisit and I'm giving it my thoughts. So this is the original line by Bridlen. As I mentioned, it's a fine shoe. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's probably entry level, pretty basic, and not as inspired. I think the last is definitely a little more bulbous, a little more wide, not as contoured, but I did like the shoe. I thought it was perfectly serviceable. But with the new and improved Founders line, I found some really impressive upgrades that I'm really excited to show you. So as you can see one last time before I show you the new shoe, I mean, it's a great shoe. Closed handle stitching, obviously it's Goodyear welted, and everything does look just fine. But here is the Founders line. So right away, I think you're going to notice that the shoe simply has a more attractive last. We have better contours. The shoe just looks more aggressive and more proportioned, I would say. It's incredibly beautiful. I love the museum calf. It's dark brown and it just looks so stunning. I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing. When I actually saw the Founders line in New York for the first time, I was blown away by the sole, which I think looks absolutely incredible. It's a really nice and pronounced beveled waist. We have nails on the heel. It's a vast improvement from the original line, which granted was around $270, and this one's $100 more, but I think that $100 is going a very long way, and I'm very happy that Bridlen decided to continue innovating. A lot of brands, they just stop innovating, they get their foot in and they're trusted and they don't do anything more. But this beveled waist is one of the most, impressive that I've seen so far at this price point. So I'm really, really happy. And then another thing that I really liked was the heel stack, which is 10 layers in construction right here. There's actually 10 layers of leather, which is something you don't see unless you get into the very high end. But I know Bridlen really wanted to go all out, and this is a very cool looking heel. I'm looking at it right now and there is 10 layers and it looks really, really nice. Now this is their new char last, which is more forgiving and actually a really great last for my foot because I do have a wide foot, but the char last was made to be able to fit wider feet. So this is something I'm really happy about. Their old lasts weren't as good for me, but the char last definitely stepped it up and gave people like me a shoe that they can wear. So I tried it on at the trunk show, and I had been on my feet all day, so my feet were obviously, more swollen by the end of the day, and I put on this shoe and they fit perfectly. So the char last is something I'm really grateful for. I think that's another step in the right direction and innovation for those who have a wider foot. Now, if you want to try some of their other lasts, I'd say they're even more contoured and more modern. So that's just something for you to know right off the bat. The details are just finer. We have really pronounced welt fudging, which, really doesn't matter functionally, but it's one of those details that lets me know the company is looking into the shoe and making sure that it has everything down tight, including those aesthetic details that just give the shoe more flair. And frankly, that's important for this community or people that like dress shoes. Because although, we could just wear Nikes or whatever, we could just wear a shoe that's purely functional. Our dress shoes make a statement, and, fine details are one of those statement pieces. Another thing I really liked was this flared forefront right here, and a really aggressive cut in, kind of like a blind waist. And this is another fine detail that lets me know the shoe was made really well. It's right here. Usually the shoe is just even all the way around. It's chunkier, it's wider, but this shoe has a really elegant waist that flares out the front. It's not a spade sole, but it's definitely something you don't see in lower end shoes. So all in all, for $370, this is an incredible deal. I think this is probably the best shoe for the money. You could get a shoe that's better in the $500 range, or something that's a little worse in the $200 range. But if your budget is around $370, this is definitely the shoe to get. And Bridlen offers shell cordovan. They offer a bunch of different styles that I think are really inspired and really well made. I want to really congratulate the guys at Bridlen for innovating, for looking at the product, taking in the feedback. I remember speaking to them after the first review, and they took that feedback to heart and really decided to make a better shoe. And that's something that makes me really, really happy. There are brands out there that usually just ignore constructive feedback and don't ever really do anything about it. But this is definitely a shoe that is not only looks better, but, is constructed better, objectively. So I'm really, really happy. This beveled waist, though, is probably my favorite. It's so pronounced, and it's not a fiddleback waist. It's just a really beautiful, round, and sturdy beveled waist. And the heel, too, is really beautiful. But look at that museum calf. One of my absolute favorites. And then it comes this way from the factory is just icing on the cake. Truly beautiful. So I was actually sent another pair of shoes. Same last, the Char last. These are just black, plain, regular Oxfords. But I'm happy they did, so I could compare them to the original line here. So this is the new and improved Founders line. And then here is the original line. And I think if you just look at them side by side, sure, they both look like black Oxfords. But as you look and pay more attention, you'll definitely see the finer details popping up. I think immediately from just the lasts, this looks more bare bones. It looks wider. I would say probably more generic is the right word I'm looking for. And on the new Founders line, the last just looks more attractive. It's more proportioned. Everything is just, in my opinion, more contoured and more elegant. So I think right away you're just going to notice a difference in the toe areas. This is, wider, obviously more basic, while the new line is more contoured. You can see how the last has some beautiful lines, and they meet up here at the front and then curve down in this really aggressive yet elegant toe area and last. So right away, the lasts are already looking different. You're already seeing where that $100 is going to, not just in the waist, which is, I think, a big improvement, but just in the last altogether. The other big one was the edges. So this is just bare bones. It just same width all the way around. Kind of what you see on entry-level shoes, which is totally fine. But when you get into higher-end shoemaking, you'll see a flared-out front that cuts aggressively in and then kind of hides the waist under the shoe. And it gives it a more elegant look. And then right under there, you get this beautiful contoured and elegant waist. All right, so here's something I don't do very often, but I have an update on the shoes because I've had a chance to wear them since December, and now it's March, and so far they have performed flawlessly and admirably, and I'm really, really happy because the last fits great, and it's comfortable, and the shoes just really, really impressed me. So it's not often I do wear shoes for the Elegant Oxford review series, and the reason why is because I have an 8 triple E foot, meaning most shoes don't fit me off the rack or ready to wear. I have to usually do a made-to-measure program, and some companies don't offer it yet. So I do my best, and I try to make it work. But if it doesn't work, I don't take points off. I just don't review that part of the wear. But since these shoes and the Charlast are just so well contoured and fit my foot so well, I knew I had to wear them. And both shoes really performed well. My only complaint, and that's not really a complaint, is here with the black pair. I took a slip because, you know, the heels are actually very, very slippery because they don't have any rubber on them and they have these nails, which is just a common problem across all brands. I've taken slips and falls in other brands, but I did take a little bit of a slip here and I damaged the toe area, but I fixed it, and I'll probably show you the reel of how I did that. I took a little slip in my dress shoes the other day and totally scraped the toe. You just have to be really careful when walking on slick concrete, but luckily there's a way to repair damaged leather because this can really ruin your day. Begin by using 3000 grit fine sandpaper and using a little bit of water, and you're going to wet sand the area to make sure it's as smooth as possible before you apply a layer of Saphir Renovating Repair Cream to fill in the scrapes with specialized resins. Cure it using a heat gun before wet sanding again, repeating the process over and over until the toe cap is completely smooth. It would be best to use black Renovating Repair Cream on this shoe, but I only have burgundy, which is fine. Reshine and everything will be good as new. But they fixed great, and everything turned out really, really well. So I've worn these about 7 to 8 times, and the brown pair I've worn probably 5 to 6, and I'm completely satisfied with them. And I'm really, really happy I had a chance to wear them and to review them fully. So since the beginning with the original Bridlen review to now, I can confidently say that Bridlen has stepped up to the plate, has improved their design, and done everything really well. I recommend the Charlast though. The other lasts from the original line still are sold, and you can even get them with this new contoured beveled waist, but I don't recommend them just simply because they look more basic, more uninspired, and I really do like the Charlast, or any of the new lasts as part of the Founders line. So, yeah, absolutely recommend them. The shoes wear well. They even crease well, which, believe it or not, some shoes just crease terribly, but everything turned out as I expected, and they did not disappoint at all, especially for the price of around $370. There's nothing here to complain about, and I really want to congratulate Bridlen for their fine work. I mean, this is an excellent step in the right direction. So, as part of the Elegant Oxford review series, I recommend the Bridlen Founders line.